What's going on, everybody? This is Joe, the host of He Said, She Said, and I wanted to just take some time out of my day just to chat with you for a moment. And I wanted to bring to our attention and our remembrance a word that we use as a part of our vocabulary. It's a two-letter word, it's very simple, and that word, and we learned it when we were taller or shorter than this table, no. How many times have you said no when you should have said yes? How many times has God spoken to you and you may not have verbally said it, but your actions said no? How can you expect for Him to work through you the way that you need, or that He wants to work through you, that you really desire to be worked through, for Him to work through you? How can you expect that to happen if you're saying no? If you're saying, you know what, God, I've never had this training before, I've never had this job before, I've never wanted to go through this process, but you have me going through this process, how in the world, how in the heaven is He going to be able to work through you the way that He wants to work through you if you're continually rejecting His advances? It's almost like when you enter into a relationship with someone, how are you going to make a relationship work if you're constantly rejecting the other person? God is not a respecter of persons. He has called you to do something for the kingdom, for Him. And you're saying no, or your actions is showing no. He will do that through somebody else. At the end of the day, God's will prevail. But wouldn't it be awesome if you were open and willing to do it? I know some of the things that He's called for us to do can be very overwhelming if we're looking at it with our natural eyes. We're like, wait a minute, I've never spoke in front of a large crowd of people. I'm a person that I kind of stay to myself. Look at me. I've never liked a camera in front of me. Look at what I'm doing now. If I went according to my own preferences, I would have never shared my story with the people that I've shared it with. I was always a very private person, kind of out of the limelight. Only time that pictures were taken is if my dad were taking them. He's a photographer. Or if somebody else was taking them and I was at an event. But I never liked a camera or pictures or really being vulnerable in front of people that I don't know. But God says that I have a story to share with people. I have a gift that He has given me to be able to impact people based upon the things that I've been through, to prevent people from going through the same thing. But if I kept saying no, I was saying no for years. Let me be clear on that before I even go any further. I was saying no. God was saying, I want you to do this. I'm like, nope, I don't think I can do it. Or I was coming up with excuses. That's another way we're saying no. We're not just saying no, like, no, God, I'm not going to do it, because that would sound disrespectful, right? But what would sound a little more appeasable to our own mind and our own conscience is just making up the many reasons of why we wouldn't be qualified for that. Yeah, I've never done that before. You know what? That's a little out of my element. I'm not ready for that. That's a major one that I used to use. I'm not really ready for that. I'm getting there. I'm working on it. Are we really working on it? Or are we in a real subtle, passive way telling God no? Or what about the people around us? They need us to do certain things, or they're asking for us to do certain things. And as a part of a relationship, it's a give and take. It's more giving than it is taking. But nonetheless, it is helping one another achieve and succeed and be to the levels that we need to be. But how can we do that if we just continually say, no, I can't do this, no, I can't do that? But what can you do? What you can do is recognize that the no's are getting you nowhere. And realizing that this time, which we exist inside of time, God exists outside of time. Time is ticking. My watch has not stopped ticking since I began this video. The time continually moves forward, and one thing it doesn't do is it doesn't go backwards. So what are you going to do? Are you going to continually make excuses and say that this is not your thing, or I'm not into this, or I'm not that type of person? Well, God is saying you are. You just can't see it yet because you are saying no. If you're saying no, you're constantly on the side of no. What's the biggest defense that we've ever made in our life? The biggest offense that we have ever made in our life is when God has called us to do something that we can't see ourselves doing. We get defensive. Nope, nope. You start pushing it away. He's placing people in your life to help you accomplish this or build yourself up to become this person to be able to handle what he's asked you to do. Nope, nope, nope. You're rejecting everything. How can you expect to move and then complain where you are? It's time to elevate our way of thinking so that way we can elevate our character and then we can elevate to the new heights that he has for us. We cannot do that with the same way of thinking, and it stops today with removing that word out of our vocabulary in the sense of when God is telling us or asking us to do something, it should not be a no. It should be an emphatic yes. And when you say yes, you activate his ability because he's not going to force himself on us. It's going to activate for him to really make a move in our lives. But we have to say yes. He's not going to force us. So will you say yes today? Or will you continue to say no? I'm going to leave that on you. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day.